Hi, I'm here to show you how to put together a motor for your clock. Say you have had it a long time and it's no longer working, or somebody smashed it with a basketball in the room and it no longer works, and you got one of these replacement motors in the mail, which you could order online, by the way, for your clock if you don't already have one. So I'm just going to take you through step by step. It comes with a little page of instructions, but just in case you're more of a visual learner, we'll go from there. So generally speaking, you had a washer with the first setup, and it's probably still fine. Put that on there on the new motor. And it probably already has a bracket which keeps it evenly away from the wall. I'm going to put a new one on there because this clock's never been put together before. And that just makes it sit flat against the wall so that your tail swings freely. Okay, there is a flat brass washer, which is super flat and shiny. I don't know if you see that. And then a six-sided hex washer that's just a little bit thicker. So you've put the motor, the washer, the rubber washer, and you're in your clock, and then the thin brass washer and the six-sided brass washer. I use a tool like this, a little wrench, to tighten them. It's easier to hold. But you can use your fingers, but I think it needs to be a little bit tighter than what your fingers can do. You can use a little pair of pliers and do it. But just be careful you don't scratch the surface when you're doing that. And then you turn it over and make sure that the bracket is lined up straight, the motor is lined up straight before you tighten it down all the way. When it's hanging on the wall from this little point, it's going to hang from a screw. You want the tail to hang straight down from a center of balance, and that way when it swings, it'll swing evenly from side to side. If this box is tilted this way or the other, it's not going to swing from a point of center, so it's only going to swing for a minute or two and then it's going to stop. So you just want to make sure that that's straight, and I line it up with the feet, or just look at the design and turn it over. It's the new design for all you safe kitties out there. So you've tightened it, and then not too tight, okay? Not super tight, or you're going to crack the mechanism from the inside. So just snug enough that it turns, but with a little bit of resistance. You don't want it super hard to turn because that's too tight. That's just going to put too much pressure on your motor. Okay, now you've got your hour hand and your minute hand. So the hour hand just slides down on that white part of the shaft. It only goes down to where the brass part starts again. So you just slide it down with your thumb fingernails. Just gently push it down, don't be too rough on it. And then it just slides down so that it's sitting at the base of that white section. Okay? And then your minute hand, if you look, actually isn't a circular center. It's got two straight sides in the center of the minute hand, right there. So if you look at the motor up close, I don't know if you can see this or not in the video. You can't really see it. But if you just look at the stem that sticks out, the shaft, there are two flat sides that will catch the reflection. And if you don't see it, that's fine. When you slide the hand around, you're going to find where it is because it'll fall into place like one of those matching games, those shape games you did when you were 3 years old. You'll go around and it'll drop down when it finds its matching corresponding sides. Then you've got an end cap, a tiny little shiny brass end cap, and you just kind of place it on there. Go a little backwards sometimes just to find the first thread evenly, and just gently turn it and tighten it to finger tight. Don't use your tool. You use your tool right now and you're going to break the shaft. Just do it to finger tight, and then go clockwise. You could bring both the hands up to noon. Okay, and then advance the time so now it's calibrated, so when it goes around one time it's pointing exactly on the hour. It won't break the motor to move the hands independently, but don't move them backwards. Ideally, just go clockwise when you do it. So set it to the time, say it's 9 o'clock, and a good alkaline AA battery. We do this neat little trick by putting a piece of masking tape around it, and now you got a little handle, and it's positive side up, so just slide it into the cavity, push it down along the base, and if you do this tape thingy, you have to push the tape over to the side. If it's in the way of the pendulum, it'll swing and bump into the tape and it will stop swinging, and you don't want that. So push the tape off to the side, but it is handy to use to get the battery out and you don't nick your knuckle. Okay, and then you hang your tail and you hang it flat against the wall, and it should work just fine. This is not a good ending of the video. You don't really fit in there, but that's how you put the motor together. And so if you want to keep watching, I'll show you how to take it apart, because it's the same thing. You just unscrew the end cap. Say you have your defective motor at home. You unscrew the end cap. You take off your minute hand, just lift it up straight. Don't yank it around. The hour hand is going to just lift off. Now this is going to be too tight to loosen with your fingers, so go ahead and use your tool now, either a wrench or a pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, unscrew it, and your motor drops out the back. Okay, now you've got your defective motor. Say this is your old motor before you've started this project. Keep all your parts on a table, right? Those are the things you took apart. Those are the things you're going to use again. Okay. Here's your battery. We'll pop that out. All right, so then there goes your dead battery, and I mean your motor that wasn't working. And you just put it back together again with the new motor. I'm jumping ahead here. Okay, you can cut out on this video anytime. I'm doing it all over again. And you just thread it back on. It's super easy, but just be kind to the motor. The worst thing you can do is tighten it too much. You will crack it, and you will break the new one that you just purchased. Make sure it's straight in the back, straight up and down with the, the head and the feet, so that when you turn it off over, it's noon and 6, so that your pendulum is hanging straight down. Okay, you slide your hour hand on. Just slide it down the shaft gently. Turn the minute hand around until it drops into place. And then you put your end cap on. Make sure it's threading evenly. You'll know if you didn't do it evenly, because when you go around it'll bump into the other hand. So ideally you want the hands to clear one another evenly, so that when they're telling time they're not bunking into each other. And then you just set the clock to the time, advance it. You can advance it in the back using the dial, but if you just, as long as you go clockwise, it's fine. Okay, positive end up. Make sure it's pushed in tight. If you do this tape trick, push the tape way off to the side. Hang your tail, and just hang it flat from a wall. I find a little screw works best, or a little nail, but a push pin is not going to work, because a push pin, the shape of it will make the clock hang at an angle, and it won't swing for very long. It'll just come to a stop. So if your problem is as easy as using a different nail, that's worth trying. Troubleshooting, you always want to try a new battery and make sure that it's hanging flat against the wall, and that in the back the motor is straight up and down. And voila, there you are.